The first thing that we usually do when we come to this work environment or any other work environment that we look after is that when we come through the door, you're using all of your senses. You're using your smell, your hearing, your sight, like a visual inspection. So that usually when you come in the plant, the noise that you hear right now is like the normal operating noise that maintains this plant. So usually when you come in, you can either hear an unusual noise that is out of the ordinary, except for the noise that we hear now, and smell, because usually if there's any kind of a malfunction on any kind of mechanical system in the plant, there will be an odor, an unusual smell in the plant here. And you do a walk around, visual inspection of all of your equipment and mechanical, your pumps at the water plant here. After we do our walk around visual inspection, we take a test of turbidity in the cleanliness of the water that is going out into the community. And we do a chlorine test to check the level of the chlorine that's inside of the distributed water that's going out into the town. We also do a test on the turbidity and the chlorine that's coming back into the water plant. So just to make sure that there's the proper amount of chlorine that is going distributed out into the community. And also we look after our own boilers, just the visual inspection part. If there's anything technical going on with the boilers here at the plant, we usually call a certified contractor that'll come in and service our boilers on an annual basis, or if something malfunctions within that time period of the next due date of service. So they usually come in and they'll take care of the problem for us. We also check the process of the plant. So we check our daily dosages of any chemicals that go into the water. We stick within guidelines that are provided by the environmental health. And we are also required to do 4 E. coli and bacterial water tests on our water. We used to send those out to Stanton Hospital to do tests for us, but now they provided us with an incubator in our office over here. So we do our own tests now. So, and we just send the results to the environmental health officer, and we send a copy to the main office. And also once a month we do an E. coli test and a bacterial test on our raw water that's coming in directly from the lake. We have 3 water trucks that distribute water out into the community. We take a sample from them the first Wednesday of every month. And we test those here in our plant in Ray. Our turbidity instruments, we do a weekly test on them. There's a little hatch door here that you just open up, and it'll show you this is the raw water that's coming in directly from the lake. So when the plant is running, there's water coming out from here, and this sensor here will pick up this is the turbidity of the raw water that comes in directly from the lake. This is a sensor that'll tell you that number of the higher the number, the dirtier the water that's coming in. So, and then what we do is we just maintain the chemical dosages that go into the water that's with the raw water. This is our meter that records the pH level that from the raw water that's coming from the lake. It records the pH level, and it also records the temperature. And there's alarms on here that'll go off on the main screen over here, or else the MCC over there, that'll tell you if the pH is low or pH is high, or if the temperature is too low. Our CL17 analyzer, that's over there. That one we do weekly checks on it. This is our CL17 chlorine analyzer. This analyzes the chlorine level that is distributed out into the community. On a weekly basis, we come in and we check the levels of these buffer solutions that maintains the CL17 analyzer. This is the PLC for the water plant here. It's an automated machine, or automated. It tells the plant when to do what, but not every plant has one. And it also has a manual override where we could go into backwash mode on a manual if we had to. And if there was a power outage, we also have a generator system that will keep this operational. And sometimes we have to override the equipment. Our plant has an automated PLC. Your plant may not have an automated PLC in your plant, but run your plant according to your manufacturer's specs. This water plant has two sources of water. We have a winter mode, and we also have a summer mode of two sources of intake, but it is lake water. We are on lake water right now on the winter mode. In the summer mode, we just switch over to the summer mode. We have a reservoir pond just below the plant where we and it's a self-gravity fed pond. This is an alarm and indicator. It'll tell you any process alarm that is happening in this plant. This is a class 2 water plant. Not all water plants are built and designed the same. So your plant may not have an alarm system like this, but this in this water plant, this will tell you of any alarm that is going on in this plant. Like say for instance, this one right here, right now, we have an outside storage tank that as soon as it goes to a certain level, and this alarm low level will come on at a certain level. On our daily inspections of chemicals in this water plant, we use the one mixture of polymer. This is directly fed into the process of making clean water. And it has this is a clear tank, so we can visually see the level of the polymer that is inside of this tank. And on this one over here, this is clear pack that we use in our plant. And it does not have an indicator of how much chemical is inside of there. So we do a physical check. So you just tilt the drum and it'll give you a sense of how much chemical is inside of this drum. These are our supply and our return lines for where we do our daily chlorine and turbidity tests that distributes out into the community. We usually leave the water on for over 10 minutes to make sure that we have a very accurate reading on our supply and our return. On our daily inspections, we are required to fill out this daily log of meter reads. It's we do the time and who done it and our reservoir levels. These two, our raw water intake, because on our license we are only allowed to use so much liters of water per year. So according to our license, we have to fill out these meter reads of the consumption and the discharge water usage in our community. This is one of the meter reads for, this is plant number 1. This is the raw water meter. This records on a continuous basis. And every morning we just write down the numbers that are on this meter. These are central centrifugal pumps. uh, these are maintained on an annual basis from an outside contractor. So what we do to maintain these pumps as plant operators, we usually you put your hand on there and you can feel for any vibration, like, and you're visually looking at it to see if there's any water or anything that is coming out of there that shouldn't be. And also you're hearing it, and you're also visually checking to see if there's any water or any kind of or anything pouring out of there that's not supposed to be. There's packing glands in the main shaft of the turbine down here. We tighten up the 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 bolts over here a quarter turn at a time. There's two nuts on these that you got to be really aware that how much force or how much turn you're putting on them and that they're even, because this shaft uh, this pump is is a turbine, and if you misalign those tightening up those packing glands, you could damage your pump, and you have a very bad vibration in there, and you're gonna feel it on top, right? And the pressure head, huh? And there's two grease nipples that are on these pumps that we have in our plant. There's one on the top and there's one in the bottom. So this pump here, this is a fire flow pump. Is It's also a centrifugal pump, and it could pump out 2,500 liters a minute. It is on an automated control. There's also an oil indicator level, and it's very important to keep an eye on this level to make sure that you're not above or below your normal operating procedure. And if you're not really sure of how to maintain your pump, please refer to your uh, your owner's manual. When we get a sample from our supply, we usually like to fill them up, rinse them out 3 times, just to get out if there's any dust or dirt inside of these cups. And it's very important not to put your finger in there, because of the oils on your finger could spoil the testing on these samples. This is our daily testing this is the DR 2800. This is where we do our chlorine testing on a daily basis. So what we use, or what we do is you fill up the bottle 3 times. That's a usually standard procedure of rinsing out these bottles. It's three rinses. You fill it up to the meniscus line. That's the meniscus line is that little white line there. It's called the meniscus line. Then we zero it.
You use the same hand, most likely.
So now it's all at zeros. All of the numbers are at zeros. And you take out your sample, and you add your free chlorine reagent. And this one here is a total chlorine reagent.
You use the same hand.
You just push read. Then that tells us the chlorine level on our distribution chlorine level that is going out into the community. So it's at 0.30. So we're at a safe level. This other meter that we have here is this is turbidity meter. This tells us the if there's any dirt or any foreign that may be in the water. This will tell you how clean your water is. And as we mentioned earlier, you rinse out everything 3 times. .07. So we are on a very safe number for that. That is very clean water. This meter is a pH meter. This tells us the pH balance that is coming in on our supply water. So you rinse out everything 3 times. And this one, you got to zero that one. This is a phenol red indicator solution. This is what we add to the sample to give us a reading of the pH level. So our pH level is 7.1. 7.1 is a neutral number. So we're doing the pH level on our water is within our guidelines. I'm not sure if all the communities are doing a turbidity level and a pH level, but all of this is important to your water treatment plant. The turbidity, according to your guidelines on your regulations of your water license, you're required to stay within a certain level of cleanliness or the turbidity of your water. And if in doubt, contact your environmental health officer. We strongly recommend that your community has one of these incubators. It's really simple and safe to operate. It'll greatly reduce the expenses of your water plant. The basic maintenance on this incubator is maintaining the temperature. We're required to maintain a temperature of 35 degrees Celsius. We're allowed to go below 0.5 or above 0.5 within the range of 35. This is a sample from one of our sample places that we collect a sample from 4 times a month. After we collect our sample out from the community, we bring it back to the plant. Then we add this is called a collar test pillow. You add one of these to each sample. So each of these samples that we have requires 1 test pillow per sample. After these are added to our samples from wherever we get a sample from, before we put them into the incubators, we are required to fill out this form. This form tells us what time this sample was placed into the incubator and at what temperature was the incubator at, who put the sample into the incubator and at what time the samples were placed in here. And they are required to stay inside of this incubator for a maximum of 24 hours. And after 24 hours, you take out your samples, and we have a black light. Then we turn the lights off. Then we what do we do is we do a test on each of these samples. And usually with your test kit, they will send you a reference bottle. These ones have a negative reading of total coliform and E. coli. This sample comes from the raw water. This sample can obviously tell you that it has total coliforms and E. coli in there. This first tank over here is where the raw water comes in. On that tube that's coming in, that's the polymer injection that goes into the first chamber, and it's that one is the flash mixed chamber. This one is the slow mix chamber. This is like basically the dirt that is in the water. From those chambers, it goes into our clarifier, and these are settling tubes that in the bottom of the clarifier, and that is the coagulation and flocculation of the process of making clean water. So all of the chunks that you see in the bottom, that is all the settling of the dirt from the coagulation and flocculation process of treatment. This is the filtration system. The reason why it's so dirty right now is because the plant is not in operation mode right now. But usually when the plant is in operating mode, this is really clear. It is very important for each of your communities to have a certified water treatment plant operator. The water treatment plant operator has its great values because at the end of each day, feeling good that you are providing a safe and clean drinking water for your children and your friends' children and your community.